Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Indie Game Movement, the podcast that talks about the marketing and business of indie games. I'm Andrew Pappas. I'm going to be your host today, and this is episode 259, where we're going to be talking about how to crush your Steam marketing. Now, knowing the right actions to take can be a little daunting when it comes to promoting your game on Steam prior to launch. There's a lot of different paths to take, and not all are created equal, making this a challenge for any dev. Thankfully, Bruno Laverny of Ishtar Games shows how his team navigated these questions through coming up with a single plan and breaking things down so they could meet their goals and crush their Steam marketing. So that's what we're going to be talking about right here today on Indie Game Movement. Hey everybody, and we're back, and today with me I have Bruno from Ishtar Games. Bruno, how's it going?
I'm good, thanks. How about you?
I'm not doing too bad myself. It's the end of the week here, and I'm just happy that that is the case. I'm sure you could probably relate.
Yeah. I absolutely can relate.
Yeah, so Bruno, I just want to take a moment and have you introduce yourself, what you do for Ishtar Games, and share a little bit more about what that is, some games you guys have made, and also, if you don't mind, just sharing a little bit about your personal life, whether it's like hobbies or other things that you do outside of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Bruno Laverny. I'm the marketing director for Ishtar Games. I mostly handle the marketing, the PR, the community management, social media, and mostly how players can see our games and interact with us. But yeah, and I've been working in games for 5 years now, which is quite a long time now. And yeah, I'm loving it.
That's awesome. And you do like a bit of everything as the marketing guy, right?
Yeah, since we are very well, now we are getting bigger, but we used to be a very small studio. It was I had this very first job as a PR person in the studio, so at first you do a little bit of everything, and now I still do. But yeah, it's like every day is different for my job.
Oh yeah, definitely. And real quick, what are some of the games that you guys have developed so far?
Yeah, well, we actually we've been here for 16 years now, but at first we mostly did like flash games and educational games. Mm-hmm. But in 2014 we decided to do some actual indie games, and so we released the games Dead in Bermuda and Dead in Vinland, which were survival management games. And now on June we released The Last Spell, which is our biggest title to date, in early access. And we are also working on a management game called Lakeburg Legacies.
Nice. So a lot of interesting titles there, like especially because it's kind of a breadth of different styles and such, correct?
Yeah. We do have some. There are quite a lot of common points between our titles because we like strategy, RPG, management games, and all. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we try to do something different. At first, we were mostly known for the Dead-in games, and after Vinland, we wanted to do something different. At first, it was supposed to be something small, like a small side project, and it ended up being super ambitious for us, and we are very happy about it. And yeah, for Lakeburg Legacies, it's again something very different because now we are doing something like a smaller Crusader King with a village to manage, couples to make, and it's really different from what we usually do, but we are super excited about it because it's a nice new challenge.
Yeah, and that's always good to keep things fresh and do something different and everything else. Well, in addition to that, and thank you for sharing that, just what is it that you do in your spare time when you're not really dedicated to doing, well, everything marketing related?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I'm not looking at Steam and Steam numbers, I'm a big JRPG fan. I mean, I love most games from Japan. I want to go to Japan again,
Nice.
and yeah, I'm also a big animal lover, and I mostly spend my time, way too much time on social media, Twitter, and spend too much time playing big JRPG.
Ah, okay. So maybe that might come up in a moment when we go into our Q box round. So again, thank you for sharing some of that insight in terms of what types of things you do when you're trying to unwind a little bit. And so yeah, let's just do it then. Are you ready for the Q box round?
Sure.
All right. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, it's simply a series of random questions I prepared for Bruno here. And let's have it. So we're going to kick it off with, what's your biggest gaming pet peeve?
All right. I'd say that my biggest gaming pet peeve is the Souls-like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. I know they are super big, and I know there are a lot of fans out there. And I mean, I understand that there are great level design, great lore, great music, but that's never really clicked for me. I mean, I tried to play them. I tried to play several of them, and I never really had fun on them. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they are releasing Elden Ring. It's freaking great, but I'm definitely not playing it.
I am so glad you said that, because I felt like, so I got a while ago, got Bloodborne. And
Okay.
after that, I was like, I don't think I'll ever purchase another game from software. Because, and it's to your point, great game, great. Everything about it is really cool. But the gameplay, I still haven't gotten past the first boss.
Yeah.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's, yeah. So I can completely relate. And it's awesome to finally hear someone else that relates with me in the same way, because for a while I kept thinking I was always the only one.
No, don't worry, you're not the only one. I mean, same for me. Like a lot of my friends are saying, "Oh wow, the new Dark Souls is great. The new Elden Ring, it's gonna be the game of the year, the game of the generation, and all." And I'm like, I'm glad for you, but I'm never touching that game.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Uh, what's your favorite food?
All right. It's okay. So for those who can't hear it, thanks to my accent, but I'm from France, so it's gonna be a French dish.
Mm.
It's called œuf cocotte au maroilles. So it's a bit hard to explain, but it's like an egg with a lot of cream, and some local cheese called maroilles. You put everything together in a small container, you put it in the oven, and then you just eat it, and it's absolutely delicious. It's the best thing that I've ever eaten, and I like to eat it from time to time. But I'm not sure that they cook that in other countries.
Well, it does sound rather tempting, and you piqued my interest. So I'm definitely gonna have to follow up with you to find out like what's a good recipe or something, because I will try that, because I do a lot of weird things with eggs for breakfast in the morning that probably most
Right.
people don't do. So I am willing to try that. That sounds amazing. So that's a good one.
Absolutely, I will send it to you.
Awesome. All right. What cereal brand best represents your personality?
Wow. All right. I don't really eat a lot of cereals for breakfast, but maybe cereals, because that's the main cereals that I eat. They are simple. I love the taste, but I don't know if they represent my personality, but they are my favorite one, at least.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. I rarely eat cereal for breakfast at all, if ever. I think usually it's now a dessert. I feel like
Yeah.
as you get
All
older,
right.
as adults, cereal becomes more dessert-like than breakfast-like. But who knows? At least that's my take.
But sometimes when you don't know anything, when you don't want to make actual dinner, you can just eat a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
It's very childlike, but it's fun when you are an adult. You can do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. If you could watch only one show for an entire month, what would it be?
Hmm. I mean, I like to binge watch shows in general. I don't really watch them again, but yeah, only watching one type of one TV show, I wouldn't mind. Maybe if I had to choose one that I have already watched, it would probably be Grey's Anatomy or The Good Place, because they are like comfort shows. They are fun. I like the characters. I know they are one and the other are totally different from each other, but yeah, they're probably my favorite shows.
Nice, good choice. And the staple here on the show, what game are you playing right now?
All right, so I'm a huge Ace Attorney fan. I don't know if you know them, but they're like visual novel where you play an attorney and you have to defend your client, and it's Japanese. It's always all over the top, and it's great. And obviously, I had to get the latest game, which are the Great Ace Attorney, and I'm loving it. It's super long. I must have 50 hours on it, but
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's great.
Yeah, I've never played Ace Attorney, but I'm into a lot of video game music, and from a lot of the mixes I hear, that's the music from that comes up a lot. And
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Yeah, it is really good. So it's like one of the ways I get introduced to some new games, and that's one that I'm always interested in. So it's good to hear someone else who's not just playing it now, but also speaks very fondly of it.
Yeah, and the trilogy is available, I mean, on a lot of platforms, on Steam, on consoles, and they are very great entry points in the series because they are quite old game. They must be 20, the first game must be 20-year old, but it's really simple and good as an entry point for the newcomers.
Good to know. Well, thank you. All right, great. Well, appreciate you answering those questions from the Q-Box round, but now we're going to get into the meat of discussion for today, which is how to crush your Steam marketing. So I want to kick off this conversation with this. When indie devs put their game on Steam, they can often get hyper-focused on wish lists. Could you explain why this could be both a good and a bad thing?
I mean, it can be a good thing, definitely, because they are like one of the major ways to see if the game is going to attract people, if the game is actually interesting to some people or not. And well, you know that when you release your game, every person who wishlisted the game get an email, and well, it's the best. It's the best featuring you could have, you could ask for. So yeah, it's really great. But I mean, wishlists are not absolute science in some ways, because I saw some games that had quite a decent number of wishlists before launch, and that completely failed, unfortunately. And other that didn't have many wishlists and then nevertheless had some success. I could talk about our previous game, like Dead in Vinland. It didn't have a lot of wishlists at launch. It had like 8 or 9,000 wishlists, which is good, but not exceptional in any way. And we still had a good launch. We were very happy about it. So what developers need to keep in mind is that you need to have as many wishlists as possible. I mean, if you have at least like 6,000 wishlists, you will appear in the popular upcoming tab on Steam, which is like the minimum thing that you need before releasing your game. And when you have a lot of wishlists, well, obviously it's good because it means that many people will hear about your game, will maybe buy it, but you can't really say that, oh, I have that many wishlists, then my game is going to sell that much. No, unfortunately, it's not an absolute sense. There are some games that don't really look good when being released, or if you release on the same day as another big game, another competitor, then your game might not be as successful as you want it to be. So yeah, wishlists are great. It's a great way to know if your game is going to fail or have some success, but you also need to take into account your competitors, your target audience, the actual release date. So